Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Lau with Kenshan Crafts. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my whole fountain pen collection that I've collected over the past 2.5 or so years. And because it is Fountain Pen Day weekend, I thought it would be the perfect video to share with you guys. So if you guys bought any pens, I hope you guys will enjoy it as much as I will be enjoying the 2 pens that I bought. I will share those pens at a later time. But without further ado, let's get started in looking through my whole collection. All right, so the first pen in my collection I want to share with you guys is this beautiful feather quill nib that my brother gave me. All right, it's like close to my favorite color. This is a really deep teal. It there's green and blue in here with gold specks of like paint. I think it's super beautiful. It's got like antique brass. I'm not even sure if it is brass, but it looks like it. And then it's got an iridium nib on it that I could just like pull out and put in there. This nib actually works pretty well. It's like a regular fountain pen nib that you can just put inside this housing unit here. So I really like this nib for just when I want to feel like I'm in the olden days or whatever. But yeah, I have this on display in my desk. I don't use it often, but I will consider it one of my like a side fountain pen, if you will. But yeah, that's to start with. But getting that out of the way, to my real fountain pens. So we're gonna first start with my sailor pens. So I did have a sailor fountain pen video up recently, so not much has changed, but if you haven't watched that video, then we will start here. So I'm gonna start with my Pro Gear Slims. I have 6 Pro Gear Slims. One of them is not a real Pro Gear Slim. You'll see soon. Okay, so these are my 4 Pro Gear Slim Sound of Rain series. This one is the Spring Rain, and this one has a translucent seafoam green and mint body. The finials are this gorgeous purple. It is also transparent basically, and it's got tiny little shimmers in there. I don't use my Slims much anymore, but I will always want these 4. At any time in my journey, I may or may not pick them up, but I strove to collect these last year and I have gotten all of them, so I am going to be keeping these. This one is the Summer Rain. It has this gorgeous deep green tealish like cap finial there. You can see that it's also transparent, but like it glows with a green and a blue inside of it. It's super pretty. The body itself is, I would consider it a darker deep teal, leaning very blue. It's not very green. These Pro Gear Slim Sound of Rain series do come with a 21 karat gold nib, and they're all medium fines, and medium fine is my happy medium, so I am very happy with all these pens. And then this one is the Autumn Rain. It's this lovely muted dusty purple. It is opaque, and the finial here is a lovely kind of brown apricot kind of color. Really beautiful. And all 4 of these pens come in the champagne gold trims. And then here is the last of the Rain series, Sound of Rain series. This is Winter Rain. It is this lovely milky, like pinky lavender color. So it does kind of shift its color. Sometimes it's a little bit more purple, other times it's more pink. So if you're wondering what color this is, it is not just one color. But for the most part, what I said earlier, a milky pinkish lavender tone is what this pen Winter Rain is. And then the finial is just a clear. It makes me think of lychee jelly because lychee jelly is this color. And you're just clear white. Alright, so that's the Sound of Rain series, Pro Gear Slims. Next up is my very first Pro Gear Slim that I ever bought. This is the Harvest Moon fountain pen that you can find on Amazon for like $70 to $80. This is called Autumn Moon. A lot of people's first pen would be this one. Now this one has Sailors Meta Shine. You can see there. You see that? It's pearlescent. It's got the tiniest shimmers. And so when you face it in the sun, this pen is actually extremely gorgeous. If you like subtle shimmers, this pen and many other sailors that have this same finish are absolutely gorgeous. This is my favorite finish on a sailor. So even though I don't use Sailor Pro Gear Slims much anymore, this is one pen that I will always keep with me because it just looks super clean, cute, and professional looking. Yeah. And then the last Pro Gear Slim is the newest Tea Time ballpoint. Or roller ball. Oh, no, I think it is ballpoint. So this is the Tea Time Around the World Afternoon Tea. This is the scones version. And I bought this in the ballpoint because I knew that I would probably sell my Pro Gear Slims if I didn't love them. So I decided to get a ballpoint because I know, we're always going to need one ballpoint in our lives, in our daily needs. And so like to write addresses on an envelope, to fill out applications, I use this pen. So I wanted my money to be put to a pen that I will be using instead of a Pro Gear Slim that I won't use. So I saved a lot more money just buying this ballpoint, and it's a colorway that I really love. The scones is transparent, the body's transparent on the scone, and the cap is this milky, creamy yellow color. So I don't like a pungent, in-your-face yellow. This is the perfect kind of creamy yellow. And it also uses the champagne gold trim, so I love that. Now, the ballpoints are a little bit back weighted. So if you've never had a Sailor Pro Gear Slim ballpoint, or even the Pro Gear ballpoint, the front half is very, very light, and the cap itself is very heavy for some reason. But I think there's a ton of metal over here to hold the ballpoint, rod in there. So it's very it's balanced towards the end. So, but that's not really a problem for me because when I write, it will kind of rest right here, which is just fine. All right, so that's the Pro Gear Slim Scones ballpoint. Next up are my 4 Hachimonjiya Sailor Pro Gears. So just like the Sound of Rain series, I was on a mission to find these pens at a very decent price, if I can. I did buy the Kubozakura first from a friend online, or on Instagram. It is a lovely pastel light pink color with a clear pink finial. And so this pen represents the cherry blossom tree. The rose gold here for the trims represent the roots and trunks of the tree. The soft pink here represents the petals of the sakura or cherry blossoms, and the brighter pink on the finials represent the buds of the cherry blossoms. So this pen is extremely beautiful and meaningful. I love sakura flowers. The nib is 21 karat. It is the Pro Gear nib, so it is bigger, and I love that because they are a tiny bit more springy than the Slims. I got this in a medium, and I absolutely love this medium. Medium Pro Gears do write a little thicker than what you would imagine a Japanese medium to write for sailors. But because it's such a light pink pen, I like to pair dusty pink inks in here and dusty pink inks are dry. So this medium nib is actually very, very helpful in regulating the flow of drier pink inks. So as you can tell, this is my favorite Sailor Pro Gear from the Hachimonjiya series, and probably among all my sailors. All right, so next up, like in order of when I bought them, I bought this one next because this one was the hardest one to find out there. It is also very expensive if you do find it. So this is Raimon Tree's Amethyst. It is a lovely, milky, translucent, I would say like periwinkle, actually, because there's a little bit of blue, but it's mostly leaning, it mostly leans purple. And you can see the nib right there through the cap, like very barely. So like I like that quality of these Sailor resins that they use to make this milky translucent body. And it is adorned with rose gold as well, just like the Kubo Zakura. Absolutely beautiful. This one comes with a 21 karat gold nib. So this one comes with those 3 beautiful snowflakes because Raimon trees, that's the ice that forms on tree branches when it's really cold, and then the sun hits that ice and it just shimmers, and you know, lots of glittery beauty. And so this pen was inspired by the soft lavender colors that just fills the whole field of snow. It's a beautiful sight. If you get the imagery, that's what this pen is, and I will be showcasing this in my winter or December currently inked for you guys. All right, so the next 2 pens I kind of bought back to back because they were restocked during the time that I was looking for these pens, so I was really lucky that that happened. So we'll talk about the Jellyfish Aquarium first. You can see that this pen is a really beautiful turquoisey blue pen. It's a soft, it's got a little bit of soft seafoam green underneath too, but it's mostly this glowing turquoise in the sunlight. So I love this quality of this pen. It's really beautiful pastel color that just kind of not in your face, but at the same time it's bright and happy. This one is silver, has silver trims. So like, I know that I love rose gold and gold trims, but I don't mind the fact that these 4 are a little bit different, so it makes them each very unique. This one, the Jellyfish Aquarium Sailor Pro Gear, has a jellyfish. I think that's just laser stamped on there. And it is a medium fine. I love writing with 21 karat medium fine nibs. They're just the perfect line width, really, for small writing, and when you feel like writing a little bit bigger, it still manages well. Okay, so that is the Jellyfish Aquarium. And then next up, the last one is the Ginza Snow Gray. This is also a winter pen, and I don't mind that because winter is my second favorite season. So this one, again, is also a translucent body because I can see the nib inside the cap there. This one has a soft grayish blue body, and then the finial here is clear gray blue as well, but a shade, I would say, a shade darker than the body. Yeah. So again, these 4 are so amazing. They stay in my case by Kiela from KR Plans on Instagram. This is an embroidered pouch. It is super soft and fuzzy. Only the most dainty, beautiful pens go in here, and I have chosen the 4. All right, the last set of Sailor pens are these 4 sailors. So these 2 are the Sailor Yoseka pens. So this one is the Sailor Yoseka Refresh, and it's got peach pink finials, and the color of this body, it's a very, very hard color to describe, but it's very pale, light blue with a hint of green. And it's got a 21 karat gold nib again. This is rhodium trim, and I got this in a medium fine. I don't use this one often because I have so many pro gears, and I have many that I like more, but I did get this one at a really good price, so it's not a bad deal. This is the Yoseka Home. This one I have used a lot. So I have definitely made the money's worth, the money worth it for this pen, because it was extremely expensive, even with the discounts, you know, the extra money that I had to help me, like gift cards and stuff. But I love this pen, how it looks so much. The combination of everything is so well done. It looks really beautiful. And then, you know, because of that, it was a medium nib, and I hated the medium nib because it was just so juicy with all the inks that I used it in. So I turned it into a journaler nib. This is a beautiful, beautiful journaler. It's so smooth, and it still retains its wet nature as a medium nib. So I love this so much. I have used so many inks in here, like at least 3-4 inks throughout the year. Yeah, Yoseka Home Pro Gear, very beautiful. Let me know if you also own one, or if you want to own one and it's just way too expensive because Yoseka can't bother to give us a sale. I'm not saying anything bad about Yoseka, it's just, yeah, no, I love Yoseka, but yeah, the prices, I don't. All right, this is the Sailor Tea Time Around the World Moroccan Mint Tea. I believe this was the 3rd edition of the Tea Time Around the World. This is called Kisan. It's got lovely ruby red. It's one of those reds that just looks really, really beautiful. The way it is coordinating with this color right here. This, to me, this is like a taupey gray. You can see there it is gorgeous. It's not white, it's not brown, it's not cream, it's something in between. I did not mean to rhyme there, but it's got a 21 karat medium nib that I grounded down to a medium fine cursive italic. It writes sharp, it writes wet. I love it. Well, it writes wet with a fairly average to wet ink. So because I grounded it down a little bit finer, I have to pair wetter inks with this, and it writes amazingly. If you have a Kisan as well, write down in the comments. This one was my very first Sailor Grail that I wanted to get because of simply the fact of this turtle rod and finial. Isn't that so cute? Yeah, I like it. I do not like the cheap sparkles. Now, I consider these the cheap sparkles because they're very big flecks of sparkle. I like my sparkles to be a lot more subtle. That way, you know, like you don't just see sparkles. Now, everybody has their own specific taste. Some people love the sparkle. This is my least favorite sparkle, or least favorite finish of the Sailor Pro Gear line. But I absolutely adore the fact that it uses two of my favorite colors, blue and green. And then the finials are white. I do like how it looks, the finished look of this pen. It's a very masculine pen, so I like it. Masculine with a little bit of femininity to it. It's beautiful. The nib is 21 karat. It was a broad, and I grounded this, had Gina grounded to a journaler as well. And it's got bunga boxes. Oh my gosh, I didn't even say what this pen was. This pen is Bunga Box Sanctuary Blue. This is my Grail pen at the time. I got this from San Francisco Pen Show last year. All right, and so I do love the journaler nib on here, so every time I write with it, it makes me happy. I just love journaler nib so much. I have like 3-4 pens grounded into journalers. All right, so those are all of my Sailors. I absolutely love them. So this case filled with more pens. So I did organize this in a way that makes sense to me. So we're gonna start with the Pilot. This is the Pilot Custom 823. Pilot makes really, really professional, beautiful looking pens. If you are into pens that are a little more discreet and subtle, Pilot pens are for you. And on top of that, they are one of the smoothest pens in the world. This one is the amber version, and I have a 14 karat medium nib. It says 15 there. This is a number 15 nib, which is similar to a Western number 6 nib. So this nib is gorgeous. Now I have a medium nib. It writes really broadly. I would compare this with a Lamy Fine, a Lamy 2000 Fine. I don't use this one often. I feel bad because it's a beautiful pen. It is a vacuum filled pen, so the 823 is a vacuum filler. Whenever you write with an 823, you want to open this end piece here. You want to, if you keep it closed, it shuts off the valve between the vacuum and the front chamber. So make sure you open it whenever you write so that the ink flows really, really well. And then the next one is my Pilot Custom 743. This is the US exclusive verdigris. It is green, and I just noticed when I bought this that the cap there has a tealy green, like a really bright teal green next to the teal body. So this is a gorgeous, gorgeous pen. I have this in a 14 karat Falcon nib or FA nib. And it writes super, super wet. It flexes really well, and it is very, very smooth. It's sharp at the end, but it writes so smooth. Compared to my other flex nibs, or like flexier nibs, this one is the smoothest and writes the best. So Pilot does a great job at their Falcon nib. Next up is my Pilot Vanishing Point Taiwan 30th anniversary Vanishing Point. It's got this gorgeous tealy forest green matte body. This matte body feels so nice. When you have so many lacquered pens, a matte body just is so novel and amazing to hold in your hands. So it's got a click mechanism. These are Vanishing Points. They're like capless pens where you don't have to twist caps. You just click the back and the nib unit comes out. Okay, and then this is my other Vanishing Point. This is the 60th Pilot Anniversary pen, Vanishing Point. It's got matte black grip. So it feels very nice as well. And the clicking mechanism over here is also matte, but the band in the center is lacquered. And it's got the edition number in there. I think there were, what does that say? Why does it say goth? Oh no, 60th. Goth 60th anniversary, and the edition number is 1460 out of 2024 or 2023, because this was last year's special edition. I don't use this one often, but I do love a good red and black pen. So I do not expect to sell this one just because I don't use it. This is one of those few exceptions. And this one is a very special, limited edition from 2023. So I think its value will, it'll keep its value over time. At least that's what I hope. And this pen has really subtle red shimmers throughout the pen. So that's what I love about this. It shimmers in the light, but it's also nice and discreet in terms of its shimmer, but it's a really bright red pen. All right. Next up, I will share my platinum pens. I have 5 of them. So this is my Kinshu Platinum Century 3776, and it's got these really cool ridges that are etched. It's really cool. It doesn't bother me with these designs on this resin plastic body, and it still feels light like most most Platinum Century 3776 pens. They're very light, and so I like to post them to make them feel a good length and feel a good weight. But writing them unposted is also very, very nice. Because I have smaller hands, I typically cramp a lot sooner with heavier pens. And this one is the perfect length and the perfect weight to not cause cramps. So I can write with my Platinums for a very long time. This one is a 14 karat fine nib. It is way too fine for me. Platinum fines are not the same as Sailor fines or Pilot fines. They're like a Sailor and Pilot extra fine is from my experience. So I don't use this pen often. I am trying to sell it because of that reason, because I don't think I can grind this to anything that will be to my liking. So I did have it tuned to write a little wetter, but we shall see. But otherwise, this is a very beautiful, rare pen. This is, again, it's called Kinshu, which is autumn, colors of autumn. And autumn is my favorite season, so that's why this is a special, that's why I bought this pen. Yeah, but again, at the end of the day, if your nib doesn't make you, the nib and the writing experience doesn't make you feel happy, like, it's really hard to pick it up and justify having it in your collection. At least for me, that's how I feel with my collection. This next one is the Roko Shichidanka, a Nagasawa exclusive with platinum. You can see that the cap there is also translucent. You can see the nib inside there, and it's got a lovely like chatoyant shimmer in this cap, or this resin material. Like it's pearlescent. You can see that it's purple but also like pink there as it's shining in the light. It's gorgeous. And this one has a 14 karat medium nib. I am a sucker for platinum mediums. They're like a Sailor medium fine, slightly thicker maybe, but like super close to a Sailor medium fine. And so it writes the perfect amount of thinness, but if you put a wet ink in there, it becomes a little bit broader, and I love that. So yeah, that's my platinum by Nagasawa, Roko Shichidanka. Next one is the Hatsuyuki Platinum Century 3776 by Hachimonjiya. Another translucent cap body material. This one is probably my favorite Platinum Century. As you can tell, I tend to like the pastel, light-toned pens because they're very dainty and just beautiful looking. This one is rose gold trimmed. I think it's perfect because rose gold is soft and it just complements the softness of this pen so well. But like it's gold, so it contrasts really nicely. And then the nib is also Orion, and my birthday is in December, and you kind of see Orion in the winter, and so this pen is my winter pen and my, just my birth month pen. So I really has special meaning to me, and I love the writing experience of platinum pens. A lot of people don't because they're too feedbacky, but I really don't think the feedback is bad. But to each their own. Next up is the Shape of Heart that set the whole world in shock during the time it came out. And then so many people realized that this pen felt cheap. I will say that even though it is light feeling, it feels a little cheap, it is a very ergonomic pen in the end. The Shape of Heart from 2024, and it's got rose gold trims with the crystals in the cap. It's really beautiful. I mean, I have no issues writing with this. It's another medium platinum nib because I, again, love mediums. Every ink that I've put in here has been beautiful. So I am happy with Platinum's writing experience, and so I don't mind having multiple of them. All right, and the last platinum is the Platinum Kanazawa Makie, and this has an 18 karat gold nib. Super tiny. This pen is so thin. So after writing with it 3-4 times in the last 2 years, I think I've come to the conclusion that this pen is too thin for me, and which is so sad because the nib, I love writing with this nib. I just don't like holding the pen. And I'm at such a really difficult crossroads with this pen, and that's why I haven't sold it yet, is because there's so many factors pulling and pushing me to keep and sell this pen. It's a hard decision. And so when that's the case, it just stays with me, and I try so hard to use it and try to like love it. I don't know, what do you guys think? When you guys write with a pen, is the nib writing experience the most important thing, or is the comfort of the pen in your hand the most important, or like how do you weigh those two, factors? But yeah, I think this pen is too beautiful to sell. The nib's writing experience is way too good. I think I prefer this nib writing experience over the 14 karats. The 14 karats are stiffer. This one has a little bit of a soft bounce to it. I mean, I like them both, but this one is just so unique compared to the my other Platinum Centuries. So those are just my thoughts. All right, next up are the Kaweco pens. So this is my very first Kaweco. This is the Kaweco All Sport. Oh no, this is just the Kaweco Sport. And they don't come with these metal clips. You have to buy them separately, which I thought was kind of stupid, but it's whatever. I do like a clip, so I had to buy it. So the pen itself is like $29-$30. The clip is $6, so this whole pen is about $36. It's very light, cheap plastic, but at the same time, there are pros to that. Like, it's a pocket pen that you could just throw in your purse or your bag and not worry about it. You not have to care that there are scratches on this pen. I am more particular about my expensive pens getting scratches, but lower end pens, I don't give a I don't care if there's scratches on them. It's plastic. It can handle those extra little beating. Now, just don't throw your pens, because the feeds actually hold ink, and so your pens will burp if you do throw your pens. So what I'm just saying is that this pen is pretty sturdy, and it can take a beating, and I am not afraid of that. Now, Kaweco pens are amazing in the sense that they keep the inks from drying out really well. I have not used, I cleaned this pen out already, but there was a time where I didn't use this pen for like months, and I would open it back up. It had a shimmer ink in it, and the shimmer ink performed perfectly. They use Bach nibs, and Bach nibs are pretty, they do write pretty well, but the Hello Kitty Kaweco uses a Yovo nib, and so this is my one Hello Kitty pen. I sold my pink one because I prefer the lilac one. And I also have the lilac grounded to a cursive smooth italic. So I don't know if anybody would want a cursive smooth italic, because this is already super fine. The Kaweco Fine Hello Kitty actually writes so well. Like, it's a fine nib that is a true fine, but it's very smooth fine. So if you love a fine tip nib, the Kaweco Hello Kitties, fine, keep it as it is. I was really sad that I had this grounded to a cursive smooth italic, because it's a little too sharp for my taste, but it writes really well regardless. So yeah, this is my one Hello Kitty Kaweco. I really like how cute Kawecos are, and who else grew up with Hello Kitty? There's like a whole era of people who know nothing about Hello Kitty. All right, and then this one was my second Kaweco. It is the Iguana Blue. I absolutely love this one so much. It has a medium nib, and this medium nib is the smoothest writer among my cheaper pens. I just love it so much. And it's such a small nib, you know, it's just a workhorse pen, really. And of course, this is the aluminum body. Some people don't like aluminum. I don't mind it. I like it a lot, actually. And even if it's got some dings and scratches on there, I don't mind it. It's meant to, you know, take those bits for a pocket pen. There is the distressed versions of these Kawecos where they look like they're beat up already. So like if you like that look, then a beat up new Kaweco should be just fine. That's just my perspective. All right, next up, we're going to continue with the German pens. These are all of my Lamy All-Stars. I don't like Lamy Safaris. Sorry to those of you who love your Lamy Safaris. I prefer the All-Star, but even then, that was my beginner phase. I don't use them much anymore because I don't like how they feel. I don't like the tripod grip that they force me to. I do use 3 fingers to grip, but my grip is a little different from most tripod grips, or what the Lamy All-Star kind of forces you to do. It really hurts my middle finger because the fact that the bottom part of the Lamy grip is just completely circular, and then like the other 2 are flat, which is nice. It helps your fingers stay there, but then yeah, I just don't like how it overall feels. I went through a phase with Lamys, and so I have multiple nibs. And Lamy fountain pens, you can remove the nibs really easily. So you just hold both ends like this, and you pull it out. This is a cursive nib. I still don't understand why it's called cursive nib, because it doesn't really do anything different than the other nibs. It just writes thicker and wetter. This one is this is the more luxe edition, which is deluxe. It has, instead of silver clip, it's got the gold or rose gold clip. This is the rose gold version, and these come with the black coated nibs, which I do think write smoother. My very first one, which is this one, came with a medium nib, and it was super smooth. And then I would buy a fine and medium from these 2, and they were scratchy. So it's just this one. It not only is it smoother, but it just feels a lot better and different compared to my good medium silver nib. So yeah, I guess it is deluxe. These All-Stars are like 37, which I think is a little bit expensive for these starter pens. And the clip is ugly. But they're really good pens on the go and everyday carry, I suppose, because like, again, they're cheaper, and it's okay to if they end up somewhere in your purse instead of in a, you know, pen storage. I also bought this Lamy, the Lamy Joy, yes, and it comes with a 1.1 stub, so it's supposed to be your calligraphy writing nib or calligraphy writing pen, but it's just so long and weird. It doesn't post either, but like, you don't need it to post because it's already long. It's like a fountain pen, or it's like a brush pen, so if you like that feel, this is nice. I don't use this often, but it looks cool. I like the black clip. It's really cool looking. The last Lamy is the Lamy 2000, and I always have black inked up in here. I should probably change it to something different, because the Lamy 2000, and this is a fine nib, by the way, because the Lamy 2000's nib writes really broadly, so I will not ever buy a medium or a broad. So I will stick with fine or extra fine, but even the fine writes like almost like a medium sometimes. The Lamy 2000, while I do not use it much, I will say that when I do write with it, the writing experience is very smooth, very wonderful. It's unique. It is definitely unique, but at the same time, it's ordinary. So that's the nice thing about this pen, is that you feel like you're writing with a normal pen, but it's kind of magical in a way because of how it writes too. That's something I think is really interesting about the Lamy 2000. While it is so boring to look at and hold, it does feel nice, and the writing experience is pretty unique and really lovely. So if I can get the Lamy 2000 Pine for the same price as this, maybe I will do. I would definitely switch the two pens in a heartbeat, but the Pine is $500, and that, I don't think that's a ridiculous price. So the Lamy 2000 is a really good writer. So for those of you who want a good writing pen, like everyday pen, Lamy 2000 can do that for you. But it is a little bit slippery right here for some people. It is for me, but I don't mind it too much because it's really nice when I do write with it. All right, now on to Pelikans, or Pelikan, but I'm just gonna say Pelikan for today. So this is my Pelikan M1000 in black. It's got an ink window right there. You can see through it. Yeah. So the nice thing about this black is that ink window. A lot of other Pelikan models have barrels that are no longer clear, or like you can't see through them, and that was the winning, you know, the best part about Pelikan pens, is that you could see through the barrel to see the ink level. It has an extra fine nib, and it's gigantic nib. So if you compare it with the M600, it's extremely big. It's a very soft, springy nib. If you are new to Pelikan M1000, do not flex your nib because it will very likely, you know, get sprung. So write with very light pressure because it's a very soft nib. That's just one of my advice for new Pelikan M1000 users. Don't think the fact that it's super soft that you can use it to write Spencerian flexing, okay? All right, so here's my M605. This has an extra fine nib. I was told that Pelikans are very wet, but this extra fine is not wet. It feels dry when I put dry to medium flowing inks in here. When I put much more lubricated inks in here, this extra fine is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful to write with. The lovely thing about Pelikan pens is that their piston mechanism is phenomenal, the best in the world, and the nib can be unscrewed really easily for easy cleaning. You can put the nib into a ultrasonic cleaner and then just use a blunt syringe to clean the inside of this tube, the pen. Super easy to clean. Pelikans are amazing for that. This is the black tortoise shell M605. Sorry, I didn't say that earlier. And I don't know how I feel. Like, I've always wanted this pen, and you know, for how the barrel looks and how beautiful and classy this looks. Very unique for a black pen. It is very light, and the grip section is a little thin. So this, I don't know, I love this pen so much, but at the same time, it doesn't get much use. I have to try it again and see if this will be on the list for potential selling. The last Pelikan is my Pelikan M600 Glauco Kanban. This is the gorgeous painting artist collection pen. Look at how the light makes the colors change in there. That's amazing. It's just so cool, swirling in the light like that. The barrel is made of brass except for the grip section. The grip section here is plastic. The cap is also plastic. The great thing about Pelikans is that the cap is plastic, so it's really light, so it doesn't back weight the pen when you post it. This pen is very, very well balanced because the body is made of brass. I think the piston is still plastic. Otherwise, this pen will be too heavy. I really like the feel of this pen. I do have a fine nib in here, which is too broad for most daily writing, but not terribly broad, so I'm okay with that. So that's my Glauco Kanban. Oh, just look at that. This pen loves natural light, and you will love it too in natural light. Okay. Next up are my other pens from various brands, except for the TWSBIs. So I have gone through a TWSBI phase, and I kept these TWSBIs because they look like vape pens. Just kidding. That's not the reason why. But a lot of people do say that these look like vape pens. If you go to the airport, you might be flagged with having vape cigars, but jokes aside, I do love the look of the TWSBI Ecos. I like them a lot. I don't use them as much because other pens I love more. So I kept these pens because they are rose gold or bronze trim, and I really like the hexagonal shape of this pen, you know, the cap. The pen itself feels good, and this plastic isn't slippery for me, so I actually can grip onto it. The Diamond 580, the grip section is also plastic, you know, like this, but it's smoother plastic, and so like my fingers do slide down. So I didn't like the Diamond 580s for that reason, and so that's why I don't have any 580s. But yeah, so this is the white rose gold, this is the indigo bronze, and this one is the smoke rose gold. So really, really love these three, or I really like these three. This one comes with a 1.1 stub. TWSBI's 1.1 stub are amazing. They're really, really nice. And then this one is a medium, and this one is a fine. So I like to have 3 different nib sizes of the TWSBI, even though I don't use these much, just so that I can compare them in future videos for you guys who do use TWSBIs. And then this one is a Schon Dsgn that I got from the San Francisco Pen Show this year. Schon is really cool. I mean, everybody says he's cool, and he definitely is. He's a great person. This one is made of anodized aluminum. It feels really cold and cool to the touch. It's a really, really beautiful engineered pen. It's just really simple. This is the regular full size, not the pocket sized. I don't typically have a lot of pocket sized pens, nor do I like them too much, so I chose this one, and I love the design of this, and it's got my 2 favorite colors. So yes, and it's just got the regular Yovo nib in there. I preferred that because it was smoother than the Monarch nib that I tried. Plus the Monarch nib is like almost $300, so that's a decision. All right, and this one is my only Esterbrook pen. This is the Esterbrook Accutron Collaboration pen, and this is the Green Gold Rush pen. Esterbrook has this one as well that's not a collaboration, so I don't understand why there's a collaboration with them, and then there is a regular SD that uses the same resin, which is kind of silly to me. But with the Accutron one, you get the Accutron name stamped on the cap, and you also get the Accutron symbol on the nib. The nib is also a little bit different. So the Esterbrook, I think the Esterbrook nib is a little prettier, but this one is rarer in the case. But then again, like that doesn't really matter to me because they're exactly the same. But Esterbrook pens, my honest opinion about the writing experience is pretty basic. This is a really nice medium nib though. I got this in a medium, and it writes like a really fine nib, even with a really, really wet ink in here. So I'm just confused because it's a Yovo nib, and Yovo mediums are typically broad. This one is my Edison Collier fountain pen. Now the screen is showing this pen to be very blue, but it is quite green in natural sunlight, and in dim lighting it does look blue. I bought a fine nib, which I really like. This fine nib is a true fine, not too thin, not too broad, and it handles shimmer inks super well. Next up is my Kilk Celestial. This is the Endless Pens exclusive from Pens with Love on Instagram. And she will be also releasing another exclusive with Endless Pens. So she got to make two pens, two beautiful Kilk pens with Endless Pens. I got to see a little sneak peek of that pen in the reels on Instagram that they shared. So if you love a green and brown pen, save your money in your wallet for that Kilk Celestial. I think I will get it too. So yes, this is my Kilk Celestial Luna, and it's got a medium nib, steel nib, and it writes extremely broad. So I think I will prefer a fine Kilk. And this one is a really, really beautiful, unique pen. It's got 925 on there to represent the sterling silver that's used on the trims and the metal pieces. This it's got the phases of the moon on the cap band with the special edition, limited edition number there, and a moon finial. Absolutely beautiful details on this pen. Next up are my BENUs. This is the BENU Edelweiss, the Talisman model, and this was probably the only talisman that caught my eye that I really wanted in my collection. I am still very, very happy with this in my collection. There's nothing like this pen in my collection. But you can say that with all BENUs. It's got a Schmidt nib. It's used to be broad, and then I grounded it down to a medium, or had it ground down to medium cursive italic, and I really, really love it. It's still very, very wet, so I put shimmer inks in here. This one is an Endless Pens exclusive as well by my friend Eric Gama. He collaborated with Endless Pens last summer to create this beautiful Sunday by the Pool BENU Euphoria. This one I chose a medium nib, and it's extremely wet as well. So this one is, BENUs are just really wet in general. So if you love a wet experience, the BENUs are for you. But like some people have stated, BENU pens do feel like very cheap plastic, or like not quality. I will say that this one, even though it does feel like plastic, it also feels really, really thick, sturdy, and I don't know, it doesn't feel too cheap to me, but the overall feeling of using BENUs, I do have a, you know, like, I don't really like them as much. So that's why you only see me with two BENUs, because if I'm gonna buy a BENU, it's gotta look perfect, because I do like that they are wet and smooth, but I don't like how they feel in my hands. All right, so that was this tray of pens. Now let's move on to the Italian pens. So this will be my last set of pens. It's my Italian pens. I will talk about Leonardo's last, but I will share my other Italian pens that are not Leonardo's. So do stick around for that first. Oh my gosh, aren't Italian pens just absolutely beautiful? Look at, oh my god, they're so beautiful and gorgeous. All right, so let's zoom down and look at this beautiful tray of Italian pens. So I have 2 Auroras, 3 Viscontis, and then 5 Momento Zero Grandes. So let's start with the Aurora. This is my Aurora 88 Ortigia, and this represents the city of Ortigia, and it's got these lovely turquoise, blue, and icy white cracked ice on the body. I had initially wanted this to be more green. It does lean a little bit green in person, in dim light, but in natural light, the more blue comes out. So if you are somebody that prefers a greener pen, this one is mostly blue. And it's got silver trim. It's got this beautiful ink window. I have a lovely blue, tealy green ink in there, or blue ink, and it's a 18 karat medium nib. I think the M is stamped right there. Yep, on the feed. So a medium Aurora pen does write pretty thick. It writes kind of like a Sailor medium, a little bit broader than a Sailor medium. I have to find a time to use this pen and really see if I like Aurora mediums or this pen in general. This was an interesting buy for me. I'm not sure if I love it enough to want it in my collection because it kind of pales in comparison to my one Aurora that I just absolutely love. All right. Speaking of that Aurora, the Aurora 88 Volterra. Volterra is a city known for its alabaster extraction, and it's this gorgeous, lovely, earthy tones, really lovely, chatoyant, mother of pearly green parts. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. And then it comes with rose gold trims. This is the only Aurora Secret Voyages of Italy pen that has rose gold, or gold for that matter. The other ones are all rhodium trim, which is really boring to me. I do like the Matera. That one has a really unique resin. Aurora calls this resin their Aurora Lloyd, which is not celluloid, it's just cellulose acetate. But it's a really, really beautiful material, and they finished it really well. This pen to me feels like luxury, even though it is very light. And I like that. I've come to love the fact that it's very light, because if it's not light, I would not write with it every day, because a heavier pen, it's harder to write a lot with a heavier pen. It really is. But that's probably a personal thing, because my hands are smaller. Like, everyone is a little different. So the fact that this one is lighter, it's a good weight for me, makes this pen perfect for me to use every day. I'm very happy with it. The Aurora 88s come with an 18 karat gold nib. This one is a fine. The fine writes super, super thin on certain papers, like rhodia paper, really, really coated paper. It writes a little thicker on paper like Tomoe River paper, Idofo paper, MD paper, any paper that's a little bit softer and more cushiony. The Aurora Fine writes a little bit thicker. I mean, I think that's true for all pens and papers, but for me, I like how thin this fine can be, and then when it writes thick, it's not terribly thick. So it's that very, very happy, perfect medium for me, and just the perfect body pen to look at. My Aurora 88 Volterra. Next up is my I think this was my first Visconti. It might have been my second. But the Homo sapiens Bronze Age was my grail. I think it's a lot of people's grail. The 23 karat Palladium specifically is my grail. And I hunted this down on eBay. Also got this from bidding. And so I managed to get it for about 400. I was very, very happy with it. It is the dual-toned 23 karat Palladium nib. It was medium before. I had this grounded to a fine cursive smooth italic. The threads here you can see are very worn down, so this pen unfortunately does not, the cap does not keep the inks from drying out. So if I don't use it every day, the ink tends to get darker. But I don't mind that. What I do mind is that the filling mechanism is not so great anymore, with however many times this got used to clean and flush out the ink and clean it. I'm not sure if it's so well anymore because the ink does get used up really quickly. So it either doesn't have a lot of ink in there to begin with, or it's probably just using up a lot of ink, because I do write with this one quite a fair bit. But this is so beautiful. I am so happy having the Visconti in my collection, especially with the Cursive Smooth Italic nib that writes like a dream on the Dream nib. Dream Touch nib. The next one is my Visconti Homo Sapiens Crystal Dream. This one comes with a crystal ink window, which isn't really crystal. It's just resin. I wish it was real glass, but that probably would increase the price and make this pen way, way less indestructible than it is. Visconti has done so many different things to their clip. They've done enamel, they've done just engraving. This one to me looks like engraving. I like that in this pen. I like the texture and the raised engraving there. Beautiful. But other Visconti clips has been just laser printed. That looks really cheap, Visconti. Don't ever do that again. This pen is very expensive, so everything should be top notch. Ooh. That was a weird sound. The Visconti's cap it's spring loaded, and it's called the hook safe lock mechanism. So you push it in and then you twist it and it's safe and locked. So that's just the I hope that's just the spring mechanism in there, but you can see the grooves here. They're very, very new, because I did buy this last year, and so it has kept my ink extremely wet, and it has not dried out on me, even though I don't use this every day. So this one is a fine, and the nib is rose gold. I love it. I love the rose gold because it does match the bronze pretty well. So yes, my Visconti Homo Sapiens in the lava material, because anything that's not lava does feel a little bit cheaper and feels a little bit like less Visconti to me, but it's whatever. They're too expensive for me to justify my collection anyways if it doesn't have lava. This one is the Visconti Kaleido. Now this is the one where they did they just did the screen print on there. I don't like it. It's not terrible, but it's not as elegant. It's very clean though. This is the Unicorn Galaxy. It is a little bit, it's a bright, beautiful turquoise, and it's got purpley white clouds and wisps in there. Lovely pen. I have this in a broad nib, and I'm going to be trading my broad, this whole pen and the broad nib with my friend Charisse. She has a fine nib, and so I decided that, she likes broader nibs, I like finer nibs, so she came up with the idea of us trading it, and that's what I'm going to do, and I will be really excited to see how I love that fine nib. So I will say goodbye to this pen someday when that happens, but I think both of our Unicorn Galaxy bodies look beautiful, so can't wait for that to happen. This is a lovely, lovely Visconti pen, but it's not the best in terms of filling mechanism. I've had to send mine to Italy, and it came back. I don't even know if it's any better. I haven't tested it yet, but there would be ink stuck in the grip section. The filling mechanism does not fill. Yeah, it was bad, but hopefully it's fixed now. Whew, this is a long ass video. Okay, so I'm going to whiz through my Leonardo pens for you guys, because I already made a video very recently going through all of them and nothing has changed yet. So if you've already watched that video, you can skip this part. These two are my Leonardo Momento Zero Grande Mother of Pearls. They are very, very different looking pens. but very similar colors. And one of them, this one is a rose gold, and this one is yellow gold. So you can see close up, they are slightly different. The smallest difference in gold. This rose gold version has a domed cap, while the other one is conical. And if we look at them close up, you can see how beautiful this resin is. Let's just look at my favorite resin one. Yeah. The depth of this Jonathan Mother of Pearl resin is astounding. And I have enabled at least 5 people to get the Mother of Pearl and hunt for it like I hunted it for it. It's just the purple that kind of glows in its chatoyance there. Yeah, Mother of Pearl is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. This one is a stub nib, and this one is an elastic fine. So these are my 2 Mother of Pearls. They look extremely, absolutely gorgeous in the light. This is my Revival Copper Patina. Let's just look at that resin. The way the colors change from blue to green to yellow and brown. This material is fascinating. It's supposed to represent peacocks. I got this from Endless Pens. This is a Momento Zero Grande. This is it used to be a broad nib, and it's a steel broad nib. I had it grounded down to a Naginata Togi nib from CY. This one is my Leonardo Supernova, which is a little bit bigger than the Momento Zero Grande, but just look at that Bohemian Twilight material. Absolutely divine. The darker purple parts, they're supposed to have some really cool effects inside of it, but I don't see it in mine. Either way, this, yeah, the mix of these colors are so gorgeous. This is rose gold trimmed, which is very interesting to match with the orange. This is a 14 karat elastic extra fine. It writes, it's very soft. I think the extra fine is a little easier to flex than the fine, elastic fine. This one is my Momento Zero Grande Ivory Juma Dragon. It's a very, very understated, subtle beauty. But to me, they're like pearls. It's like a pearly pen. This one comes with the number 8 Leonardo gold nib. It is made in-house. This is extra fine. And if you look at number 8 nibs versus number 6 nib, you'll find that for a grande, it just doesn't make any sense to have anything but a number 8 nib because of how large the grip section is, and then the number 6 nib is so tiny. So I get why people prefer number 8 nibs, because number 6, it just looks so tiny. But when I didn't have a number 8 nib, I didn't mind the number 6, but now that I have number 8, it's just a perspective change. It's really, really interesting, but also frustrating at the same time. It's like I cannot have a grande version without a number 8 nib now. But yeah, this one is so lovely to write with. I have grown accustomed to this extra fine nib. I like fine tips, and so this one with the red ink has written beautifully for me. And then finally are the regular Momento Zeros, my Radius Settimo, and a Momento Magico. I'm going to be selling my other Magico, the Smeraldo, and I'm also going to be selling my red Leonardo Hermes from Endless Pens, because that pen doesn't really have too much meaning for me. I have excluded them from my lineup here. So let's take a quick look at what is in here. So this is the Radius Settimo. This is the Cielo Blue resin. It's gorgeous. It means blue sky. And these come with the Radius Jovo nib so it's radius 1934. This is a fine nib, but it writes like a medium to me. So that's my radius setimo. I mean, I won this for free, so I just really wanted this material in a pen, and I love looking at this material so much, but I personally don't like writing with the radius so much. It is nice. It's nice when I sometimes write with it, but I don't pick it up often because the writing experience is not as amazing as other pens that I have. Here is the Leonardo Momento Magico. It is Magic Moment, and this is Lions Rock Green from Muse Pens. This is their exclusive from, I think, 2021, and it's just absolutely beautiful. It's silver trimmed, comes with a medium nib, and it's also got their Lions Rock logo there. It's just a Yovo steel nib with a plastic feed. And it's got an ink window in there, so you can see the ink level. I think I have something in there right now. I thought I cleaned it out. The first Leonardo Momento Zero is the Dragon Heart by Clarissa. This is my absolute favorite Leonardo Momento Zero, followed by my Parisa Maldives, which has always been my favorite until this one came along. I would say they both have a seat at the top one. This one specifically is a gold, number 6 gold extra fine nib. So you see on a Leonardo Momento Zero that the grip section fits perfectly with the number 5 nib, or number 6 nib, but the grandes just don't look right. So I love the softness of this gold nib, and I think it writes really lovely and smooth. So this is Dragonheart by Clarissa. So why not show you guys my other favorite Leonardo Momento Zero. This is the Parisa Maldives, my very first Leonardo that got me into the Leonardo rabbit hole and got me to working with Leonardo in San Francisco. So I'm very grateful for this pen, as well as, you know, just me loving it so much, like the brand and all the beautiful resins that Leonardo works with to create their gorgeous pieces of art. So this is Parisa Maldives. It represents, you know, the island vacation adventures. It screams happy vacation for me. So very happy with this pen. It may look a little bit blue because of the, you know, camera, but in person, again, it is very green. If you have seen Planetary Nebula, it is the very same resin as that pen. It is very green in person. So I love this so much. And the resin used for Planetary Nebula is the same as this one, but I noticed that a lot of those Planetary Nebula pens had a lot of the clear acrylic resin, and mine doesn't have a lot of that, which I was really shocked that that one had, you know, this resin had so much clear parts, because mine didn't. But if you look closely, there are some clear parts in this pen. I just didn't see so much of it. So I never knew that it had clear parts. But otherwise, I'm very glad that mine didn't come with so many clear parts, because I do not like those. And then this one came, I got this in an elastic fine steel nib. Elastic fine steel nibs don't write so well in some papers. I've come to notice that. So, this nib has written really squeaky on some papers, and I hate that. So I'm going to change this nib. I'm going to upgrade into a gold nib. I'm going to get maybe an elastic extra fine gold nib to put in here, or a regular extra fine, because I want my favorite two pens to be gold nibs. Here you go, Parisa Maldives. And for those of you that want my Parisa Maldives, the line is long. Just kidding. But you know who you are. Next up is my Endless Pens exclusive. This is the Fioritura Viola by Nibs and Flourishes. She collaborated with Endless Pens and Leonardo to make this pen. It's a gorgeous purple pen. not much to say other than that. And it's got rose gold trims. I again got this in an elastic fine steel nib. I'm happy with that. All Momento Zeros are cartridge converter pens, so they're easy to clean that way. This is my Leonardo Momento Zero Rangoli. This is the Pen Boutique exclusive, and this uses the primary manipulation for resin by Jonathan Brooks with rhodium trim, and I got this in a medium nib. It works really well with my shimmers. Next up is an exclusive from Goldspot. This is the Foresta Umbra. I initially got this in a fine nib, and then I bought an elastic fine steel nib to use for shimmers, but I ended up liking the fine more. Wow, you just look at that. That part looks like it glows in the light. Beautiful chatoyance. This got ruthenium trim, which is like gunmetal black. It's also, coated with ruthenium on the nib. It's really lovely. Lovely, lovely pen to write with. I got a beautiful ink in there right now too. Yes, Foresta Umbra by Goldspot. I think this is the best, the most beautiful exclusive by Goldspot to date. This one is Hades from Endless Pens again, Mica Fine's creation. No, this is made by 20 Sides, and it's ruthenium trimmed, ruthenium plated nib. This again elastic fine. This is elastic extra fine actually. Yeah, this is the finer nib that I use black inks for. I love using Shogun, and in here, Jerevan Shogun is so beautiful. It pairs beautifully with this pen. I was really hoping that this one was a little bit more orange as it was pictured, but it's very yellow. I am disappointed about that, but it's still a lovely looking pen. This one is Persephone. Again, Endless Pens, Mica Fines. This one is gorgeous. My first one was not, but this one is absolutely beautiful. I love the bits of gold flecks, just scattered throughout this pen. It's a lot more random and a lot more beautiful. Again, elastic fine. That you'll see that I have a lot of those. I have used beautiful pink inks in here. Love, love, love. So if the other two were number 1, this would be number 2, and Foresta Umbra is number 3 in terms of my top favorites. And then the last Leonardo is my Leonardo Momento Zero Blue Aloha. Gives me lots of Hawaii vibes. I love this pen so much. It's the only cracked ice design I have. It's got a medium nib in here, which writes like a fine cursive italic, smooth italic. Well, I like that. So this is gorgeous. This is the only blue Leonardo Momento Zero I have. The rest of them are kind of leaning green. All right. Well, that is all for the pens. Alrighty, well, I hope you guys enjoyed all of those pens, and I hope I gave enough time for each and every single pen, and you will see the longer I am with a pen, probably I like that pen more. But either way, let me know down in the comments how many pens you own, how you decide what pens to keep, what pens to let go of, what pens you decide to buy in the future. I just want to know anything that you wanted to talk about your own pen collection in the comments section, and would love to read it and have a conversation with everybody. So again, if you enjoyed your time here with me, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more videos in the future. All right, have a wonderful day. Bye.